What's up, everybody?
Nice.
It is Monday, February 3rd. It is February 3rd, and you are watching the Daily Fantasy Insiders TV NBA show presented by DraftDay.com. With me, the one, the only, Grant Gurton, CEO of Fanium. Also, you might know him from the new game out called Fantasy Elite.
Yeah, I'm making it rain.
And then
I found a $1 bill in my pocket.
And then Davis Maddock, at Davis Maddock, he's one of the senior contributors for the Fantasy Insiders here. And Davis, you're not looking as like where's the swag today?
What do you mean where's the swag? I got a Ralph Lauren V-neck, dude. I'm fine.
Okay, I mean whatever you say. If you'll show everybody your tattoo, I'm not sure if everyone in the chat has seen your new tattoo. And what does it say?
Put the glue on it. It says, "What matters most is how well you walk through the fire."
This boy is on fire. Right? Am I right?
I don't know.
No? Okay, fair enough.
and tell Dink in the chat that I do have chest hair. I just shave it. All right, bro.
I used to shave my chest, and still do occasionally when I have time. Just when you get married, it's like it's more of a hassle than like a need. You know?
I mean, most things really are more of a hassle than a need. Like, as long as I have, like, Code Red Mountain Dew and a laptop, like, really everything else is just extraneous.
Yeah, Code Red and laptop.
All right, well, guys, I'm punting this free roll. Like, I've auto-drafted twice now.
It's okay. It's hard for you to draft on the air.
That's why they have the favorites feature, man. You gotta get that favorites feature down. You favorite the guys, and then you auto-pick them. That's all Gaby does. He doesn't even show up for any of his Fantasy Elite drafts.
Yeah, Davis, you just need to focus on the show. I feel like you're already spread so thin because you pay so much attention to the chat. Between chat, the show, like responding to questions, and then also a live draft. I mean, something.
You've never once caught me pulling a lowy where I'm like, hey, can you repeat that? Not even one time.
I'm saying that you're just spread thin. That's all I'm saying.
No, Fantasy Elite's a quality addiction, man. You can't.
I'm firing off Snapchats while I'm on air, and you guys don't even know.
Oh, you are such a baller. Want to talk about the games today? Like, I think everyone's kind of having withdrawals because yesterday there were no games. There's
one.
There was one game. Yeah.
Celtics Magic game.
And that didn't really even count. So then you have today, and it's like people are just trying to get in as much as they can because yesterday the only action really for money was like betting, and some people, I think a lot of people probably bet the Broncos.
All bad.
And the game was terrible, so people are just wanting something to cheer for. Like if you bet anything on the Broncos yesterday, you had nothing to cheer for from like the get-go. Like it was terrible. Absolutely.
No, my happiest moment was when the Seahawks kicked their second field goal, and I was like, Demaryius Thomas to score the first touchdown is still alive. But like, other than that, it was all bad.
I actually, my wife was talking to a friend in the living room that had like dropped over dinner, and so I was like trapped in the office. So I just went ahead and took out everything from the office, cleaned it. Put it back together. I'm not sure if you guys can see, but the office is starting to come together. It's starting to look pretty dapper.
Oh, Dave just gets to show off his studio again. This is his favorite part of the show.
Oh, stop it. You're only saying that because it's true. Let's talk about the NBA, though. 11 games tonight on a Monday, which is good for a Monday. News. Davis, hit it. Go.
So basically, the thing that I'm kind of keeping an eye on actually is there was some news on Roto World last night about a heel injury on John Wall, and about him maybe skipping out on All-Star weekend. So like Wall is like probably like the top play of the day in terms of dollars per point. But if he's any sort of limited, that's going to change. There are a couple game time decisions. I think Cousins is a game time decision. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then there's Derek Favors, who's doubtful to play. There's Jeremy Evans, who's doubtful to play. And everyone who wants to use Calais tonight, just a quick word of warning, they signed Darius Morris off the street to a 10-day contract. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but if Calais is playing something like 28 minutes instead of 38 minutes, that changes his fantasy value a lot, I think.
But does it, though? Does it? He's gonna.
Yeah, it does. He sucks.
He's gonna play 32 minutes, and he does not suck.
He's not good, though.
Davis, if you think he sucks, then I've got news for you. You suck.
Well, I might, but I'm also kind of mad because I faded Calais on Saturday.
Why?
Because I was on G-Chat with Leone, and the Michael Carter Williams news broke, and I just typed to him all of the Roten, and he typed back all of the Roten, and then I just went and made all of my switches, and Calais ended up balling out.
Well, I mean that's on you because he was going to play.
I need to rephrase. Calais is still a good play tonight, and I don't want to insinuate that he's not. His price tag everywhere is still really good, but it's not impossible that Darius Morris plays 20 of the point guard minutes and Calais plays, 28 of them. That's not an impossibility.
For those wondering, yes, I did put the Air Kitchen photo. I forgot to put that important piece of memorabilia back in its place. I'm still putting things together. As far as Dink, he says, what Balding point guard hasn't been good in NBA history? It's true. Calathis is every time I've watched him this season, I think he's a nice player. Like he's a backup point guard, but he's not like a terrible backup. He's not like a Bulls backup point guard.
He's not Marcus Teague.
Hey, Augustine's pretty good, man.
Well, he's like the starter now. Yeah.
He was our backup point guard. He's not bad. It's the only good thing that's happened to us all year.
He wasn't the original backup point guard though.
No. He was not. He had Marcus Teague and Mike James, who somehow is better than Marcus Teague.
Yeah. So basically, you have Calathis, who even if Darius Morris plays, I think gets at least 32, 35 minutes. Like he's not getting just 28 minutes.
And he's gonna be fine. I don't want anyone to think that like this is something where I'm coming on and being like, no, don't play Calathis. I'm saying I faded him on Saturday and it didn't work out, so probably don't follow my example.
Grant, what are you seeing out there today?
We gotta know Jarrett Jack is probably gonna start again, which is worthwhile news on FanDuel because I believe he's still minimum salary at $3,500. So
is he shooting guard eligible?
I check.
No, he's not.
Then on FanDuel it probably doesn't matter that much.
Shooting guard has become the new small forward.
It has been awful, terrible over there. I really hope that multi-position eligibility just becomes the norm.
Jack is not shooting guard eligible on FanDuel, but he is minimum salary and probably is underpriced in a lot of places, so not a terrible guy to.
Yeah, I'm paying attention to Denver backcourt news because Fournier, if you can play Evan Fournier with Ty Lawson out at 3.9 at shooting guard on FanDuel, that opens up. Like you can roster John Wall and LaMarcus Aldridge in that scenario on FanDuel.
What about Tristan Thompson?
Never again. Never, ever.
I can't even believe I played him. Not in one main lineup, but in two main lineups on two sites. I played him. It's bad. So bad. People want to know about Lawson. He is playing. And, yes, ban me for saying Tristan Thompson. I just want to make sure no one played. Like, he did absolutely nothing. Nothing. He's had his chances.
And he played 32 minutes and still did nothing.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
It was just awful.
It's terrible. Dink says he likes Tristan tonight.
Dink, get the fuck out.
Well, there you go.
So if the over-under was 10 minutes, whoever hit the under hit it.
Derek Favors probably not going to be playing because of his hip inflammation in his hip. I mean, it kind of came out of nowhere, but missed the last 2 games. Not going to be playing again tonight. Enes Kanter, that's the guy that I actually won with on DFS Elite because I just took a flyer on him. But now that we kind of know more,
Getting great value there. He's still going to be staying around the same price. So
now that we know more, we can. I feel comfortable about rostering him. Jeremy Evans also doubtful, but
price point is really good. Cantor's is.
Yeah, Cantor and even Marvin Williams on a few different sites where his salary is pretty low. Without Jeremy Evans and Favors, those two are going to get the lion's share of the minutes. Against Toronto, I could definitely see it happening. Some more players. Jay Crowder.
No.
He went off. He went off the other night.
I know because I rostered Vince Carter. Because Vince Carter helped me win that GPP, so I you have that false confirmation bias, so I rostered him again, and he had 6 points.
Yes. Well, that's because Crowder had a good game. And can I clarify something? I talked about. I don't want to go back down the whole stereotyping hair, but I figured out why the other third person, Kenneth Faried. He's the other guy with dreadlocks that is a hustle player, and so that's why I guess the two, Damari Carroll and Kenneth Faried, is why I always think that players with dreads are the hustle players. I don't know why. I also think
excellent analysis.
Yeah, I also think that people with the kid and play haircut are just shooters. I don't know why.
Shumpert has the kid and play haircut, and he's not a shooter.
Well, he tries to be.
I don't really think he does.
Gerald Wallace. Yes, Gerald Wallace. There we go.
He didn't play at all yesterday.
No, but they're talking about just the hustle type player. So there you go.
No.
But in this Dallas game, Brandon Wright against Cleveland is another. They call him the human exclamation point. Product out of Middle Tennessee. Again, for if you're on FanDuel, he's listed as a power forward. I think on DraftStreet he's a center. Everywhere else, he's got that power forward center eligibility. But for where his price tag is, if he's given, it's all about the minutes with him. If he can get the minutes, then
he won't though, because when he plays more than 24 minutes a game, his knees spontaneously combust.
That is not a fact.
It's a fact.
No.
Do you want me to pull up his game logs? 26, 12, 16, 12, 25, 13, 20, 17, 13, 23. Those are his minutes. He doesn't ever play more than that.
But for minimum salary?
No, because you can just play. I want to spend at power forward tonight, anyways, on FanDuel.
Where you want to spend at?
I want to spend Rudy Gay, and then
he's a small forward.
I know. I'm saying that's where I want to spend, though.
Okay.
I want to pay for Rudy Gay because his tag is still super cheap, and then pay at power forward. Right now, I have Duncan and Carmelo in. No one should be surprised that I'm taking Carmelo, but
you've got Carmelo.
Yeah, and I could change it. I could change it to Blake. And Draft Sheet just typed in the chat about Nets. Right now, I'm kind of looking towards fading that game actually because the Nets rotation is pretty volatile. And yeah, I agree with everyone in the chat that says Blake greater than Carmelo tonight. But I also have mad man love for Carmelo.
Mad man love, nice. Yeah, the Nuggets Clippers game is going to be the game to target, and Wizards Blazers. Both those games are good games to target. Nets going up against Philly. Like you said, it is volatile. Paul Pierce is a guy I wouldn't mind rostering if you had to play a small forward. I think a lot of people actually will be going for him. So, K. Cannon says Duran is the only play I think on the Nets. I would disagree with that.
Yeah, I disagree as well. Pierce, and I know that people get on me for talking too much about Draft Street because it's anti-industry, but his tag on Draft Street is 10.8K, which is super nice because he's actually been playing a lot of power forward.
Yeah. Well, going back to Duran, the point guard against Philly has not been getting the amount of points that you think that they get, and that's why. Combine that with the lack of minutes that Duran is getting, the blowout factor. I just don't think you have to play Duran. Grant, agree or disagree?
I agree with I agree with Jeff Draft Sheet in the chat. I like Livingston tonight for all the reasons that you just mentioned. He's getting minutes still, even with the starting lineup switch. And if the game does become a blowout that favors Sean Livingston, also, I think that he's probably a better alternative, lower price, and has been producing value. So I have absolutely no issue throwing Livingston in there, and I think Williams is a good play too. I have no problem with either of them. I think Williams actually his points are going to keep on going up as time goes on, but I'm just concerned about any kind of blowout factor tonight.
Yeah, Livingston. Someone played a head-to-head, took a head-to-head game, and then I saw they had Livingston before it started, and I was like, "Oh, I got this." And then he went off. He absolutely went off the other night, and tonight is a game. I agree. Sean Livingston is definitely a play because you know he's going to get minutes. He'll get at least, I think 30 minutes tonight. And this past two games, 28 points, 30 points as far as fantasy goes. So I don't mind Livingston as a cheap play where he is available. So I just got a notification on my iPad that a lot of people are following at Esurance. This whole Esurance thing has been crazy. Yeah,
such brilliant marketing.
It really is. Like whoever thought of it is brilliant. We tweeted out from the Fantasy Insiders account that whoever retweeted us, if we won it, we would just host a giant free roll for. And there was only like 55 people that retweeted it. So, can you imagine if Fantasy Insiders won and we had a 1.5 million free roll or however much money it is?
That'd be pretty sweet.
For 50 people.
Can you please make that a double up free roll?
I think everyone would just win. Like, like the minimum would be like 10,000 that a player could get, and then just kind of go up from there.
Yeah, no, I retweeted, so I'm right in there.
Someone asked about Mirza, and he is another guy. I feel like there's just a lot of different guys on this Nets team that you could roster, but
sneaky play though. Murs is a sneaky play.
Yeah,
Mirza is a great play because Philly is so bad against 3-pointers, like philosophically, so he should have plenty of space to shoot.
Yeah, if he's playing the 4, he'll get rebounds too as a result of just who they're playing and minutes. So I mean, he's not a stat stuffer besides points, but for his price. He's another one of those elite guys who, it's funny I can talk about elite sellers now because we're live. He's one of those elite guys who sticks at 5K pretty much. So if you want a minimum seller guy in the early slate, he's a guy you can turn to.
Yeah, he and with Karolinko also probably being out, it opens. And we don't really know about Blatch. Do we know one way or the other if he's playing tonight? The last I saw, he's questionable.
Yeah, I don't think any specific news has dropped about that.
So if Blatch and Karolinko are out, I mean, I think Mirza is one of those guys. Mirza, Pierce, Livingston are 3 guys that you might want to consider against Philly. As far as blowout factor, this game that game does have a little bit of a blowout factor, but Pacers and Magic. Did you see the
15.
line on this?
15.
Yeah, 15.5. I mean, it actually surprised me, but
I'm not. They're gonna kill him.
Why do you say that though?
Because the Pacers are a significantly better team than the Orlando Magic.
And the Pacers are really good at the things that Orlando is really bad at.
Okay, such as?
At rebounding. like
basketball.
Pacers. Yeah, the Pacers are
basketball.
The Pacers are an elite rebounding team, and the Magic are the exact opposite of that. Even with Vooch back, they're still not a very good rebounding team. Like Aaron Aflalo, routinely is the second leading rebounder.
So are you looking at anybody in this game then?
No, because every time you play Hibbert in one of these really good matchups, he gets 4 quick fouls. and I don't want to take Paul George is shooting 24% in his last couple games, and I like Monte Ellis more than Lance Stevenson at shooting guard.
I think Stevenson's a play though. Stevenson often does play in garbage time occasionally too, and it's even possible they'll shift him over to the point guard position. I've seen it happen before. So I don't think Stevenson's out of play, or his price is reasonable. Besides that, I'm not sure I'd target anybody.
This would be like, normally I don't do this, but this would be like, you might see Condia do this. It would not surprise me if like he had Luis Scola out there, because what he likes to do sometimes is if there's like a big blowout, he might roster one of those guys on like Draft Street or Draft Day, where it's an efficiency site and the salaries kind of have that high range, where you have Escola or Ian Mahinmi or C.J. Watson, who's another backup. Not Bynum, but Granger maybe. So
I used Granger the other night and had some success.
It wasn't the last game, but it was the game before last, because I did the same thing.
Granger was actually a reasonable play. They could give him minutes tonight. He had who was he playing? The Lakers. Yeah, he had like 17 fantasy points near the minimum salary or at minimum salary. So he's a guy you could probably roll out tonight if you want to do something that's a little bit risky.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like a Draft Street only strategy, personally.
No, it's a Draft Day and Star Street play too at 5K and 6K.
Star Street,
I agree. That's normally a Draft Street play.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about this Clippers and Nuggets game, though. Lawson is going to play. You also have Blake. Blake, probably the must-play guy. Also, I mean, DeAndre Jordan, he has been, he's been kind of up and down, but I definitely think this matchup is a game that he can get up for. Grant, would you rather play, or I guess I should say, is Blake the number one play for you tonight?
Depends on what service you're talking about. I think that across the majority of sites, I think Blake would probably be the top guy from that game. I think that if you're playing on my game specifically, Darren Collison's still the top play because his salary's not moving enough. But besides that, I think that Blake Griffin has a fantastic matchup against Denver. No reason he can't have an extraordinarily good game tonight.
Davis?
Yeah, Blake is number one for me. He was like the first guy that I slotted in when I went to DraftKings Draft Street, and then he was the first guy I put it on FanDuel, and then I'm messing with it right now, but I just got him back in, and I got off Carmelo.
Oh, really? We talked you off of Carmelo?
This always happens, and I hate it, dude. I should really just every day keep one lineup that's my thoughts before I do this show and before I read Dink and Mike's stuff, and just see how it does.
Yeah?
I never do, because I always use like the mass export feature, because I just use one lineup on every site, but I really need to start keeping just one.
People talking about in the chat about Jameer Nelson being out, and
all the each one more.
No, stop it. That's what I'm told. No each one tonight. Do not play each one tonight. Oladipo, I really don't mind tonight if you want to risk it.
I think playing across 11 games though, Oladipo, you could find better value than Oladipo. I mean, it's like if you're
he's 6.5 on DraftKings though. That's a pretty nice price point for him.
For sure. As far as Blake or LeBron on Draft Day,
so easy.
Blake's 15, LeBron 17.6. LeBron had coming off a good game though.
No, LeBron can get out. He got to stop. He's no.
No. So you'd rather have Blake in there?
Yes, I would.
Okay, just seeing kind of gauging things.
I don't love the Detroit matchup for LeBron either. I think it's good, but I don't think it's the best matchup.
I think they probably blow him out.
That's the problem. I mean, that's the big issue, and I don't know. I'm not all over him, but
I mean, the game's a 9.5 point spread, so there is certainly the blowout factor there. But
if Wade's playing, because it's always an if right now, I think that I actually almost like Wade better than LeBron as far as those people. I could see Wade having a good game. I don't know why. I can't pull stats. I have to pull stats up here. I have a really good feeling I watched the last Pistons Heat game and Wade had a good game. Would need to look that up.
Yeah, they're awful defensively. They're just so bad on defense. Like their big men are never in the right position. Jennings's best skill is like quickly getting around screens, but that's not even how Wade scores anymore.
Braun played really well one of the last times they played. He actually had 20 and 24, 9 assists and 7 rebounds. Bosch had a good game too. But,
Can we talk about? I can't believe we spent this much time talking about Indiana and the Magic, but Napsterman just brought up the point that Oladipo's going to have family in the crowd because he played at Indiana.
Oh, got to do it. Got to get him in. Make the move, guys. Simple as that.
Going by the motivation factor, that would be up there pretty big time. I can't believe I just said pretty big time. But for the Nuggets, the guard situation with Lawson playing, would you consider Lawson? Or would you consider Foy?
I'm kind of off those. I mean, I guess the matchup is pretty good, but generally, because Denver is never playing up in pace, I sort of tend to not play them that much. Like, I really don't roster Ty Lawson all that often.
What about you, Grant?
I like Collison on the other side of the ball more so.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying that you would not play the Nuggets guards.
I'd rather play. I think Fournier is a guy to look at where he's cheap. If it appears he's going to get some minutes, I think that Collison for LA is the guy in that matchup that I would prefer.
Fournier is minimum salary. Someone asked about him with still getting second team minutes. I just don't. It just depends on the site, but I don't think that you have to because there is some decent value. Like, I mean, 20 minutes maybe, 25 minutes. So without, I think you might see. You heard that Randy Foye wants to take over more point guard duties from Lawson. So I think with that, Smizzle's asking why he's going to get more minutes. So because of that, Foye's wanting to take over more point guard responsibilities. So that's why Fournier is probably going to be the guy that slides in that position. So don't mind that at all. As far as this Spurs situation, they're playing New Orleans. Spurs have just kind of been up and down a mess. I'm done with Bellinelli. I'm done with him.
No, he's on the never again list too.
He just has so many minutes. So many minutes and doesn't do anything with them.
It's so and they started Shannon Brown over him the other night. Shannon Brown on a 10-day contract played 24 minutes for the Spurs the other night
and started. It's not. They signed him that day, and he started that day.
Is he gonna be played tonight? Is Shannon Brown in play?
No. It's Shannon Brown.
Isn't he married to someone famous? Brandy? Is he married to Brandy?
I don't know. Let me look. I do know that his claim to fame.
Monica. That's who it is.
He got into it with Kobe one time, right?
Yes. Well, who hasn't gotten into it big time with Kobe? That is the bigger question. This Spurs team, though, you have Duncan, who's been playing really well. Duncan going up against Anthony Davis,
I'm on Duncan tonight.
Okay, I wanted someone to say it.
Yeah, Anthony Davis is really good, but the Pelicans as a whole are a really bad defensive unit, and Anthony Davis is incredible, but there's only so much you can do, and Duncan is the only piece of consistency that the Spurs have going right now with Parker injured and with so many of their rotation players not active.
Do you mind that I'm fading Anthony Davis tonight, Grant?
Not particularly. I don't think that he's been playing really well. I had to watch him firsthand against Chicago, and it was ugly on Saturday. It wasn't something I enjoyed watching, but I often get nervous playing guys against the Spurs and for the Spurs. Just in general, it's just I don't know. I always get a nervous feeling every time I see the at San Antonio or.
The Spurs. Here's the thing: is the Spurs are not the Spurs right now. Their rotation is completely shattered, and without Kawhi,
it's a bunch of junk. It's still a bunch of junk right now, but still, even with that being said, it's a big man though going up against Duncan. So I mean, I think as far as guards go in New Orleans, I don't have a problem with Brian Roberts tonight. Like, I mean, I think you can play him if you want to try to look for some value. Evans doesn't get me too excited, but
Tyreek always gets me excited.
I'm sure he does. I mean, I think Evans is playable. I think Eric Gordon's playable. I think that those are all guys that there aren't guys that like I'm going to start my lineup with, but those are players that I'm considering. And I'm going to consider Shannon Brown tonight. I don't know if you start.
No, Grant, stop
no.
it. Stop it.
I don't know why I like Shannon Brown.
I don't know. I don't know.
This is no. Just stop.
No, I'm going to act like you did not say that. As far as Anthony Davis goes, he will either have 2 fouls and 15 minutes or less in the first half, or 3 fouls in the first half. Like, Duncan is going to take him to the school.
You don't play bigs against Duncan. Like, that's the same reason I faded Howard versus them the other night. You just don't take bigs versus Duncan.
The school of fundamentals. That is where Anthony Davis is going tonight. So,
what if he jumps out and over the school of fundamentals? Because that's a real possibility.
It is. Or, like, I mean, this is the game, I don't know, like, with all these junk players the Spurs have, I could see Davis having a lot of, like, help side blocks. Hopefully, though, he's not going to be coming off too much help side for fear of the Duncan. I mean,
there are legit reasons to play Anthony Davis, but I think that power forward is so wide open tonight. I think you can fade this situation or play Duncan and feel fine. The reason I'm saying play Duncan is that he puts up elite numbers and he's priced a tier down from Blake, Melo, and Aldridge.
Kate Cannon said Anthony Duncan would be amazing.
Put Anthony. Oh my God, I can't talk. Put Tim Duncan's brain in Anthony Davis's body. That's like a 10-time MVP. That might be better than Kevin Durant.
Sports is Fixed mentioned that Splitter is back, and so that's why Splitter will be at that. I think that's why you'll see Splitter on Steamsma, I guess, and Duncan on Davis. So it'll be a fun matchup to watch. Just don't know if I'm going to roster any of those 2 guys, it's Duncan for sure for the lesser salary.
Quick fun fact: Splitter is 5.3 on Star Street tonight, for whatever that's worth. I'm not sure anyone want to use him, but that's a pretty really low price tag. So that's cheap.
You also have this Washington and Portland game. Washington played really well against your team, the Thunder.
No, they always do. Like, if you go back and just look at the game logs of the Wizards and the Thunder, they've either made them like hit like a game, like KD had to doodle jump versus them, or they've just beaten the Thunder by like 20, like the last 3 seasons. They cannot play the Wizards.
So LaMarcus, though, tonight, I feel like is a decent option, not a guy you have to go, but he and Lillard, I don't mind playing, even though they're playing on the road.
Stop with the Lillard. Lillard is exhausted. It's not. You can't.
His salary though has come down.
Do you remember when Derrick Rose, his salary just kept falling and falling and falling, and he kept doing nothing? This is what Lillard's doing right now. He needs to like take a nap over like the entire All-Star break.
Okay, so over under 35 fantasy points tonight on draft day.
3-point bonus? No, I'm taking the under regardless.
Really?
Yeah, he's not going to get to 35.
No, he's definitely getting 35 tonight.
I'm
definitely.
under 2.
Yeah, no. Think about what you're saying, David. He's been bad. He like hasn't even he's like still can't hit threes.
You don't even for someone that loves the gunner so much. I
love Damian Lillard.
You have to realize though, it doesn't matter if he hasn't been making threes. Like all it takes is that first one to pop. And he's
25 points versus Golden State, 21 versus Minnesota, 18 versus Denver, 26 versus Oklahoma City, 28 versus Houston, 34 versus Dallas. Those are all extremely good point guard matchups, and he didn't do anything with them.
I'm pretty confident in the under 35. I would be comfortable with that.
Well, you boys are both wrong. I'll just go ahead and make Lillard my super sexy pick of the day. But
Okay,
it doesn't mean like I have to. I feel like I have to roster him. Like
if he's your super sexy play, you have to roster him.
No, I don't like. Tommy G made the mistake of going on Sirius and saying that Jordan Hill played the bulk of minutes in the fourth and the second half for the Lakers when it wasn't true. And then when MG challenged him as to that fact, Tommy basically challenged him to the $500 a night bet thing. But then Tommy said he felt like he had to play Jordan Hill that night. And Jordan Hill got, I think, maybe 2 fantasy points. This was Friday night. It was really bad. And they had foul trouble. They had Gasol hurt, and I think Hill still only got like 12 minutes. So
D'Antoni doesn't like him. D'Antoni really doesn't like him.
Yeah. Well, and even though they're not really a game we should be talking about, I think Kamen is going to be the biggest benefactor, not Jordan Hill, from this Powell Gasol stuff. Shims3 says, just saw beat reported for Kings, hearing positive things on Cousins tonight.
Yeah, I just saw that tweet.
Cousins going against Chicago, Noah against Cousins. Should be fun. Is there any place, like I'm looking at DraftDay, don't think I'd roster him there. Is there any place where his salary has come down maybe from the injury that you might want to play him?
Not against Noah.
Bulls play at a horrid pace too. Like even when people blow them out, it's just terrible. And the Bulls are favored in this game, barely in Sacramento. But I don't see why. I'm looking to see. I don't see anywhere where his salary is low.
Oh, lots of stuff in the chat. If you're watching this on YouTube later, Fantasy Insiders, youtube.com/Fantasy Insiders, just know that sometimes you miss out on a lot of good stuff in the chat. Andy Varejao questionable for the Cavaliers. Read where he said before the Knicks game that if he felt like he could play, but if not, like he still felt really good about the next game. So I expect Varejao to play tonight. Obviously, I haven't read any updates about him today. If he plays, though, against Dallas, would he be a play for you?
No. Because really. I think you're going Cantor, Noah, or Marc Gasol at center, on everywhere.
Cantor, Noah, or Marc Gasol. Noah is pretty pricey. You're spending on him.
He's in my draft street lineup right now, and then I have Gasol and Cantor elsewhere.
Well, that's...
But that was before I made all these lineups before Cousins was playing. Cousins isn't necessarily a great defender, but he is a really good rebounder. So I don't know if I would like to play Noah versus such a good rebounder.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it.
I love DJ Augustine tonight. We haven't talked about the Bulls game yet, but I like that matchup against Sacramento.
Yeah, but with Heinrich back, they split minutes, but more importantly, they split ball handling duties. And when his usage rate is lower, he's not as good.
Yeah, he's looked pretty good on played awfully well on Saturday against New Orleans. This is a better matchup.
All right, let's reading some stuff from the chat. Why Cantor? Is there news on Favors? Yes, Favors probably not going to play tonight. I don't expect him to play, so he's doubtful. So that's why Cantor is definitely a play. Smith says no Hickson love. I think Hickson's in play, but for where his salary is, I don't know. Just looking different places, I would probably rather have Fareed tonight. Maybe that's
Didn't Fareed get banged up though?
I'm not seeing anything on him. So
yeah, guys, that's my bad on Augustine's minutes. I don't play Bulls very often, so I haven't. Augustine's minutes have been really good. Scott Malawig just typed in the chat 40, 38, 39, 44 minutes in his last 4 games.
He actually said his last 3 games, and then he corrected it to last 4. Joe Johnson over Foy. No. I would not. I'm still not playing.
I'm too scared. Joe Johnson's a guy I wouldn't play tonight. I don't see why you play Joe Johnson. I could be wrong. I know Philadelphia is not the best defense, but he hasn't been playing that well, and they could blow him out. it just doesn't seem exciting to me. That's a guy I wouldn't want to have on my team, but some people like him.
Someone asked about MCW. He's a game time decision, still questionable. Gut feeling, does he play or not, Grant?
Probably not. They're cautious, and I'm not even sure how much they want to win. So that's my guess is he doesn't play.
Davis, what about you?
My guess would be that he doesn't play. This is all part of Sam Hinkie's master plan to secure the number 1 overall draft pick. He he had like a minor knee issue and missed like 3 weeks.
I'm not sure they want to win. Like I actually see games. It's funny. Like it's like I think they're games they try to lose and they still win. Like I love it. Like there was a game a few days ago where they had the ball at the end of the game, and usually you call timeout and bring it to half court, and they were like, "No, we're just gonna have Evan Turner run it up the court." He still scores the game-winning shot. And I remember thinking to myself, like, man, they didn't even try to win this game, and they pulled the game-winning shot off. Like, it's kind of funny. I'm not sure I've ever seen a team try to, like, at least do the least they can to try to win in the Sixers. Like, I mean, the Warriors did it a few years ago, and they won that 7th pick to get Barnes rather than giving it to Utah, so they take big time at the end of the year. But I think that the Sixers are doing their best. Nerlens Noel can probably play right now. Or, he's not going to play this year.
They're completely rebuilding his shot. I mean, if any of you guys are on like basketball Twitter, not like DFS Twitter, but like basketball Twitter, the jokes like the Sam Hinkie, like Michael Carter Williams knee jokes were the most hilarious. Like someone tweeted out like, why does Michael Carter Williams have this knee infection and Sam Hinkie has this massive invoice for Lily of the Valley plants? Like it's so funny.
I feel like this would not be a show, Davis, unless we mention Monte Ellis.
No, he's terrible, but he's super in play tonight. He's playing really bad. He was not going to meet value in their last game. Like it was going to be another he was down to 12K on Draft Street, and he was 6.9 on FanDuel where he's at right now, and everyone's like, oh, you got to play him in that matchup versus Houston, and he was no, not Houston. I don't remember who they were playing.
Sacramento.
Yeah, and so he was. And it was just all bad, and then he scored 14 points in the fourth quarter.
He went off in the fourth quarter. It made me so mad because I faded him.
I had him, so that was that.
It's like if you had him, you were doing cartwheels. If you did not have him, that's when when someone goes off in the last quarter, you think that your fade was perfect, and then you see that it wasn't perfect. And then, the guy that you started in place of him had a great first half and a horrible second half. That's when, stuff gets thrown. You want to stay away from sharp objects. That is the absolute worst.
I had him, but, I shouldn't have. It's very rarely when I roster Monte does, he play well. But I keep doing it because I just love him so much.
Oh. At the beginning of the year, it was all working.
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, it was great.
Fear the Turtle just asked, what are cartwheels? That's all I say, cartwheels. You say cartwheel?
Yeah, you say cartwheel, because we're not from the South.
Cartwheel. Cartwheel. To me, they're the same. Monte, though, him or... He and Gordon Hayward are two guys I could see, wanting to play. But they're so... Would you let me finish, Grant?
What's the question?
Huh?
Hayward?
No, you get on Davis because he's not letting me finish. So, anyways, like I was saying, Monte and Gordon are two guys that you might want to play, but they're so volatile that you don't know if they're going to have a good game or a bad game. Now, Davis, would you like to comment on what I just said?
Yeah, Gordon Hayward is playing super bad right now.
Super bad.
Super bad.
Ask Mr. Tuttle about how Gordon Hayward's playing.
Mr. Tuttle, how is Gordon Hayward playing? Also, putting together rosters right now is hard.
Mr. Tuttle basically needed seven fantasy points from Gordon Hayward to hit the baller, to get first place in the baller. Maybe it was 7 or 10 fantasy points in the fourth quarter. Somehow he got -3, and instead of winning the baller, he finished out of the money. Kept on turning the ball over. It was terrible. Yeah, he said -3 points in the last 7. So that's bad. And like Dink said, that's on FanDuel. That's not an efficiency site thing. That was on FanDuel. That was a bad beat. So that's what I consider a bad beat, anyways. As far as other shooting guards, though, if you had to play shooting guard tonight, who would it be? Grant?
I mean, I like Fournier because you can punt. If he's going to put up 20 minutes even, I don't think that it's a I think as far as at least FanDuel goes at $3,700. I think isn't that where he is? 37.
Yeah.
I think you can probably punt with Fournier. I don't mind Stevenson.
3,900 is what his salary's at.
Weed's expensive though. I think that Wade plays. I like Wade. I'm having trouble with Butler right now because
that's what I'm looking at too.
I don't think he's healthy. Like I just don't think Butler's healthy. I've watched these games. He just doesn't look healthy to me. Like so, it's hard for me to play him. I mean, I don't know. I think that in the high end, as I said, like Stevenson's gonna have a good game tonight. Just the price tag at $700 is just so high on Stevenson. I like Wade. I think that Wade's a guy that can have a really good game tonight if he plays against Detroit. Who everyone might not be all over Dwayne Wade, but I think Dwayne Wade could put up good value. And Courtney Lee's not a terrible idea against Oklahoma City.
Yeah, Courtney Lee. So Fournier, I don't mind if you're punting the position like on a FanDuel site. As far as like one of the beautiful things about our sponsor DraftDay is that Calathis is shooting guard eligible. So he's
that makes everything different.
He's like automatic. But Courtney Lee also, he just had a really bad game last game for the minutes he got, and it wasn't even that terrible. But he still is going to get a lot of minutes tonight, and against Oklahoma City, I can definitely see him being a viable play. Other guys you might want to consider, other than Courtney Lee and Calathis, is Livingston, who's shooting guard eligible on draft day. And then I just don't know. I just don't know about Gordon Hayward, but he sure does have a nice little matchup tonight. He would be like a GPP
against Toronto.
Player. Yeah,
they played at gross pace, and DeMar is like a decent defender.
Oh, he's a decent defender. Well, then okay.
He's not like he's super athletic though. Like that's the type of defender that Hayward struggles with.
Yeah, but you look no favors, and possibly no Evans. I mean, we've seen what Gordon Hayward can do in worse matchups. So I think that this is a decent matchup with more shots. I mean, you still look, last game, 41 minutes. The game before last, 40 minutes. Before that, 38 minutes, 36, 37. I mean, he literally, the past 9 games, has played 36 minutes or above, probably averaging around...
Everyone trolling me in chat can note that DeMar's defensive rating is 105, which is better than his team, and Zach Lowe said he was a better defender. So if Zach Lowe says it, I'm inclined to believe that it's true.
So gospel is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Anyways, that many minutes tonight, I mean, I think tonight is a good night to break out of a slump. So... You can hate on him, but he's a good GPP play. I don't mind if you play Gordon Hayward tonight, especially if his salary has dropped down because of his 2 bad games. I don't mind playing him, but my preference would be on those non-FanDuel sites would be Calathis and Lee. If you can.
Are you playing Monte Ellis?
No.
Not even on FanDuel. Because what's your I mean, I kind of really like Jamal Crawford on FanDuel. Zach Lowe did a great write-up on Blake Griffin and how the Clippers' offense has changed. And he's went from handling the ball 2 minutes and 3 seconds per game, like on average, to actually having the ball in his hand 3 minutes and 40 seconds per game, which is like more than like anyone other than Damian Lillard in the whole league.
If you're forcing me to take someone on FanDuel, I think I'd rather have Hayward than Ellis tonight. So
you'd rather have Hayward than Monte?
Yeah. Why not just play them both though? If that's what you're wanting to do, why not just play them both?
Because Courtney Lee.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't know.
I don't know. For some reason, I like the starting version of Dwayne Wade more than both of those guys tonight. But we'll see.
Well, have fun with his game time decision then, because
we don't know. I mean, I'm just saying that's based on That's with confirmation that he plays. If he's playing tonight and he's starting.
Blah.
I just haven't rostered a Heat player like not in Fantasy Elite in a long time.
People asking about JJ Redick. So, JJ Redick had a bad game last game. Didn't even play the last fourth quarter, and we might even see that kind of going forward, where they have Collison, Crawford, and who's the Dudley at the 3, and then Blake and DJ. So for JJ Redick, I just would avoid tonight. That would be my advice. Let's get on the draft day worm tonight. If you're not already there, there is 5 spots available in the draft day worm, and always fun to play in that thing. Play against some of the best, but if you're not playing on draft day, then you are seriously missing out. We'll go over the rapid fire right now. I've got to admit, I have struggled with the rapid fire. I don't think I've even got 4 right the past 3 times. So I was on a heater, and now I'm not. So hopefully tonight that will change.
And that is the genius in these rapid fire games.
Scott Malwig, I tell you what.
Yeah, he's so good.
Rapid fire tonight. First matchup: LaMarcus Aldridge versus John Wall.
Wall.
Aldridge.
Yee. I would probably go. If I had to pick, I'd probably go Aldridge. If that news about Wall kind of made me a little bit nervous.
Yeah, it did too, because it totally came out of nowhere. Like, it's not like we've seen a dip in his production, so I don't know what to make of that information, really.
Blake or Noah?
I wonder if that's a trap. Like, you got to be very confident in Joakim Noah to put him up against Blake Griffin tonight.
It's a Scott Malwig booby trap. That's exactly what it is. But the answer is Blake. Just go ahead and step over that booby trap. Kyrie Irving versus DeAndre Jordan.
DeAndre.
Kyrie.
Yeah, that one I think is the trap. I think the other two are pretty straightforward. I think this one is a trap.
I would go Kyrie against Dallas. We didn't really talk about him, but I think he has a nice little matchup against Dallas.
I agree.
Fast-paced game. His upside's a lot more than DeAndre Jordan's upside, because DeAndre Jordan has no offensive game at all, but he does get rebounds. So
he can dunk.
Andre Drummond versus DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar.
Agree.
He's gonna get ran off the floor versus Miami.
Oh man, I would agree. I can't believe I'm taking DeMar DeRozan, but I am.
Yeah.
Randy Foye versus Nick Kalathis.
I like Foye on a person-to-person, like a matchup basis. I like Foye.
You both are wrong because it's Nick Kalathis tonight.
That's who I said.
Yeah.
Okay. Well then.
Nick Kalathis. I'm just the idiot. I'm on Foye.
Then Davis, you're right. Grant, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Scott is right to point out that Drummond has done well versus Miami before, and it makes sense because they're a really bad rebounding team and they don't play 2 bigs a lot. But there is both the foul trouble factor with LeBron coming into the paint, Wade coming into the paint, the blowout factor with Miami just being a much better team, and him getting ran off the court. I think it's risky.
Yeah, and people talking about how the news on Wall means that he just might not compete in the dunk contest. Was he gonna compete in the dunk contest?
I just read the same Roto World blurb that you read. I don't know.
Basically, it said that the All-Star contest activities. So I don't know. Sometimes we do read more into that. Like Saturday night, I was all on Love, and then it came out that he was like a game time decision.
Then 49 and 18.
Ew. And I got off of him everywhere. Like I didn't have him on one team.
Me either.
And it was a little bit disgusting. I mean, he was like over 70 fantasy points on a few different sites. So, yeah, that was bad. If you have any questions in the chat, feel free to ask them right now, and we'll get to them. Again, want to mention our sponsors, DraftDay. They have the qualifiers coming out, and for this bracket contest, they also have the live drafts that you can play in, the target games. They have fantasy golf now, so it's good stuff. That's all I have to say about DraftDay. It's good stuff. They just have a plethora of games, and as far as their interface goes for desktop DFS, it's just the cream of the crop.
My fantasy elite team that auto drafted is so bad.
Is it really bad?
Yeah. Let me go look at it.
It's Rodney Stuckey, Livingston, Tobias, LMA, Myers Leonard, and George Hill.
Myers Leonard, yes, you're gonna be using that drop feature. Stina says, I was taking a poop. What's the consensus on Lowry?
We hadn't talked about Lowry.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Lowry.
Yeah, I mean, Utah has the worst defense in the entire NBA, so I can't say you can. For whatever reason, I just never end up paying for Lowry, and I think it's because I always play Wall or Curry, and so then I need a value guy. But I should definitely be playing Kyle Lowry more. So maybe I'm not the right person to ask because he wasn't even on my radar.
He's expensive. I mean, our sponsor $16,300 is a lot of money for Lowry, so you're paying.
Yeah,
you're definitely paying up, but I wouldn't stop you. The game logs, other than his. In his last four, he's got 49, 47, 23, 38. So standard scoring. So that's I think that's good enough where he's definitely in play. And if you play him, you're not an idiot. But it's a good matchup. It's something that's David. I'm kind of with you, Davis. I don't have the balls to do it. I think that an elite draft would be the only place I'd do it because when players get taken off the board in a short slate like we offer, you might want to play them in a shortened slate. But besides that, that's the only scenario in which I see him being in play for me.
Yeah, well, it's just like, are you really gonna play Kyle Lowry over John Wall? Yeah, sure, you might if you're someone else, but I'd never make that move.
I definitely did do that on Saturday, and I kind of regretted it. It wasn't a bad Lowry still was a solid play.
It's not a bad play. Lowry is playing really well, and especially with DeRozan aching, it's not a bad play.
Yeah.
Trey Burke's not a plus defender by any means.
It's well, yeah.
His own coach says he's tired.
Toronto got torched. Toronto got torched by Portland. So.
That's the Blazers, though. This is the Utah Jazz.
According to Crazy Gaby, they have a real threat to come out of the East.
Who?
I have a prop bet going with Gaby that the Raptors make it to the finals at 27-1.
Wow, it's who was it? I think it was Christian Hardy last year said that the Raptors were a playoff team. I mean, they have been better without Rudy Gay. I'll give them that. Someone did ask about Rudy Gay tonight. I'm off of Rudy Gay with the Cousins coming back. If Cousins in play, then Rudy Gay, not so much.
Bulls play good defense too. Even with the injury, Butler is playing good defense. That's one thing he's still doing. He's a very, very good defender, and he's the guy who probably gets matched up on Rudy Gay.
You guys can't talk me off Gay though.
Okay. Well, tried before. Luol Deng with Marion Doubtful. Sure, I don't have a problem with Luol Deng. I just wish his salary has come down a little further than what it has. Mozgov over Cantor. I don't think you have to go Mozgov at all. I think Cantor's the obvious play there. I think it would be that it just would be unnecessary. So
Cantor might be the best play of the night. I think dollars per point on the board.
I don't know. I think people are sleeping on Rudy Gay. At 7.3 on FanDuel, that should be someone you start your lineups with. And I know you hate to trust him 2 games in a row. Let's say 3 games in a row, but he's eating.
All right, that'll do it for today's show. Join us tomorrow. Davis getting it. Join us tomorrow, and we will have Napster Man and Davis on the show, and we'll also have another special show later featuring the Elite app. So that will be fun. But tune in tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern Time, same station, same time, and then Grant will just be replaced by Nap. It'll still be. We definitely have to do tomorrow, though, the hashtag for Davis.
You can't get Shannon Brown as a play with Nap on the show. So
yeah, Grant, one more Shannon Brown outburst, and you are out of here. Anyways, thanks to
if he starts again.
Thanks to Grant Garden and Davis Maddock, and thanks to our sponsor DraftDay. We will see you later.